Hello and welcome back if you've been here before, and if you haven't, my name is Hannah and I'm a travel and nature photographer. Today I wanted to share a little bit about my approach to quiet photography in busy places. And in last week's video, I talked all about my stay at Clayoquot Wilderness Lodge, and this was really kind of in the middle of what was 3 months of travel. And after that trip, I had one day to come home, repack my bags, do laundry, and then catch another flight. But this time I was going to India, and I was so excited to go again, just to have the privilege to be able to go back to India. And it's a place that I can return to year after year for the rest of my life and still leave wanting more. I don't know if you might have a place like that for yourself, but that's India for me. And so I was really looking forward to going back to some places I've been before to photograph them again. And one of those places was the Taj Mahal. And as a photographer, I feel like my photos tend to lean quieter in aesthetic. And so when you go to a place like India that is home to 1.4 billion people, that approach to photography is hard, but not impossible. It's like, how can I marry my photography aesthetic with this place that I love so much, and how can I tell its story? And it's hard to do a place like that justice, but I tried. So I wanted to share some of, I guess, the inner workings of my brain, if you will, of my approach to quiet photography in very busy places. So the first thing are our establishing shots. So these are your wides, and they really set the tone for where you are. Wides are really all encompassing, so they're capturing the scale of the location. And this doesn't mean that you can't use compression. So in this photo, I used a bit of compression, but still captured the overall environment on the grounds at the Taj Mahal. Next up is foreground. And foreground can be used to hide many things in your photos, like people, or to create a frame within a frame. I used foreground here as a way to not only hide people, but to create depth between the foreground and subject, which is in this case the Taj Mahal, and create separation between the Taj and the white sky. I really felt like the building was sort of just melting into the background, and using this foreground kind of created that separation that I was looking for. Using slow shutter. This is perhaps my most favorite technique when it comes to photographing busy places. And it does play into the chaos, if you will, but it does it in a dreamlike way that almost makes it feel quiet or nostalgic. This last slow shutter photo is of me in collaboration with my friend Melissa. She's an extremely talented photographer. I'll link her Instagram and website down in the description below. But what I love about this photo is that we compressed the image and shot it at a very low shutter speed. And it was handheld, so I stood as still as possible. Melissa stood as still as possible. And we really love this result. We leaned into the chaos to create a brief moment of pause within it all. The next thing I want to share with you is looking for new perspectives or angling your camera up. And to be honest, this is a tried and true way of creating quiet in a busy scene. It not only allows you to ignore the people, but it also creates entirely new scenes of your subject. Details and light. Okay, so remember when I mentioned getting those establishing shots? This is where you can get micro within that macro scene. So pay attention to the light and how it creates shadows or reflects, and get up close to your subject by photographing the details. Getting micro within a macro scene can often lead to deeper storytelling that really makes your viewer feel like they're in the photo with you, because they now see that macro scene and then they also see those micro details within it. And finally, we have colors and subject isolation. So what I mean by this is you find a subject and you isolate it from the rest of the scene using color. In this scenario, the Taj Mahal is mostly white, but there were plenty of opportunities to incorporate color. So in some cases, I used the sky, I used the surrounding gardens and people to make quiet images through color and subject isolation. Okay, I hope you found these tips helpful enough, useful enough to apply to your own photography. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be photography in busy places, right? Like it can be any genre of photography. Personally speaking, one of the envelopes I like to push the most is wildlife photography. So I'm going to Yellowstone next month and I'm very excited because I'm planning on doing some slow shutter photography if I'm able to get close enough, obviously at a safe distance with the critters to kind of create that shutter, to kind of create that shutter drag. So hopefully I will be able to share a little bit about that experiment. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. And if you aren't already, please subscribe and hit that like button and leave a comment down below. It truly does go such a long way. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.